fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here for today's WIP and chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for work in progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today, I'm going to be continuing to work on my Little Baker kit from Diamond Art Club. So let me zoom into where I'm going to be working and I will be right back. Let me preface this by saying I made some notes, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of those tangent, rambly days for me. So apologies in advance if this is hard to follow. Like I said, I did make some notes, but my brain is just kind of all over the place today. I'm not really sure why, just that sometimes it is. So today is one of those days. Okay, so what's been going on in my personal life? Well, not a ton. I got my hair cut. Woo! So my hair has been really dry. I decided yesterday after we were talking about it that perhaps I just am not drinking enough water. I'm not from this area and I'm just not used to the high humidity and everything else, which makes my hair frizzy, which is not fun for me. And also, I just, at higher elevations, you're supposed to drink more water. And while we are close to a body of water, I don't know, I just feel like maybe I need to, because the climate is colder here, maybe I need to drink more water than I'm used to. I mean, let's be honest, I need to drink more water, period. So it's just boring after a while, water has no flavors, but I need to, I know that. Okay, so I got my hair cut. It's all good. I think she cut off, I was expecting her to cut off an inch or so. I think she cut off more like a couple, maybe a little bit more, but that's okay. It's still long how I like it, and the color looks good, so I'm happy. Hubby liked it, so it's all good. Let's see, what else? We're still cleaning out my mother-in-law's house. We've had 3 visits up there so far, and I think we've taken out probably at this point 5 or 6 bags of trash. I mean, some of it's just cords that don't go to anything because whatever they went to got trashed long ago. There was a whole bunch of CDs. She doesn't have a computer that she can look at the CDs anymore or use them. She just has a laptop and it doesn't have a DVD CD drive. So got rid of those and just like old user manuals for items they don't own anymore, that kind of stuff. A lot of paper trash. It was cathartic for me to get rid of it. The last time we went up there, we could actually see the floor enough to vacuum the carpet, enough for me to realize that the carpet is not really wall-to-wall carpeting. It's just a carpet they cut to fit the room. It's not actually tacked down or anything. So that was interesting. But we managed to get the vacuum up there and vacuum the floor, so the carpet looked completely different with all the dust and everything vacuumed up. We couldn't get rid of the one desk, so I was like, well, let me just organize some things. Nobody's going to come in here to use it as an office anymore. So we can just put decorations and stuff on the desk. So a lot of like pictures and things that she doesn't want to get rid of, like, let's just put those on the desk. And then they're still in here for someone to look at if they ever go in that room, which it doesn't appear that anyone does, but whatever. I felt good about it. We got rid of quite a bit of stuff. One of the things in there was a Dyson vacuum. And when we asked about it, they're like, oh, well, it doesn't work. So hubby, of course, being the tinkerer that he is, was like, well, let me take it home and see if I can fix it, which I was fine with. Dysons are so expensive, but they are good vacuums. We had one years and years ago. I mean, probably 20 plus years ago. We bought one that was like a specialty one for dog hair because we had 3 dogs at the time. It worked amazing. Loved it. But it was like $500 20 years ago, so I can't even imagine what they are now. So hubby took it all apart. It did work, but the thing that rotates the brush head is broken. So like you could still use it to vacuum like hardwood and stuff, but it wouldn't probably do much on a carpet because it wouldn't turn the brush head. Hubby's like, well, I can spend $150 and get a whole new head and then it should work. And they're like, no, it's old. We don't need it. Well, then we found out that's because my brother-in-law had actually bought a new cordless handheld one of those rechargeable ones that you just hang on the wall. And that's what they've been using. And it works really good. We used it to vacuum up there. So hubby was looking around and trying to see, do we want to bother to fix it? Because my mother-in-law was like, if you can fix it, then you can keep it. I don't want it back. And knowing how expensive they are, I was like, well, do we want to fix it? Do we want to spend the $150? And my husband's like, well, I could just spend $50 and get this one part that's the thing that controls the brush head, and then we'll see. And I was like, do we really want to spend $50? And then if it doesn't work, we're out the $50. Do we want to spend the $150 so we know for sure it works? And he's like, well, I don't know if I want this vacuum anyway. And I said, why? We have a central vacuum in our house, which I've never had before. I think it's a cool concept. My thing with it is it's the only vacuum in the house, and we have 2 stories. So in order for the vacuum head to be able to reach upstairs, the cord is ginormous, as I would imagine most central vacs are. So every time we go to vacuum, we have to drag out this 50-foot long hose, and it's just annoying. And the vacuum works great. I don't have a problem with that. And so hubby and I were looking, and it was like, well, what if we got a small cordless one, or even just a small one to keep upstairs? Because that's what we've been talking about doing with the broken Dyson, was putting it upstairs. So if we wanted to vacuum, we could do the downstairs, but then we didn't have to, because you have to finagle it over the stairs, and someone kind of has to hold it so it doesn't knock stuff out of the way. And it's like a 2-person project. So I was like, well, let's see. Because really, we don't need to vacuum a lot in our house. We have a rug in the living room, and we put one under our bed. So there's one under the couch and one under our bed. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is hardwood or tile. So you could just use a broom on it. I like the vacuum better. So then hubby got looking, and he was looking on the Dyson website, and they sell refurbished ones. You get the same kind of warranty as if you bought it brand new, but and they have been refurbished and everything. Like, we buy stuff on the refurbished Apple store. It's basically like buying an Apple item brand new, except you get a discounted price because it's not brand new, but it has all the same warranties and everything. So I said, what are the prices? And we could get basically a vacuum like the one my brother-in-law has that he paid like $800 for $300. It's cordless, it's rechargeable. It comes with a little charging stand. We could put it someplace out of the way so we don't have to drag out that big cord all the time. We actually had one like it when we were staying in the rental, and I really liked it because you could just take it everywhere. You didn't have to worry about the cord or whatever. It's real easy to get under things, under furniture and other things to vacuum. So we finally just decided, yeah, we're going to do that. So we've ordered the new vacuum, which sounds like a dumb thing to be excited about probably, but I'm excited. Then we don't have to drag out the central vac. I feel a little bit bad for spending money on it because it's an expense we don't really need right now. But a Dyson for $300, I just couldn't pass that up. That seemed like a really good deal. So we're getting a Dyson. I don't know for sure when it'll be here, but I hope in a couple of days. I was actually also excited too because hubby and I were cleaning up the kitchen, basically swiping everything off the counters onto the floor, and then we were going to clean the floor. And I was like, hey, when we get a dog, the dog will clean up all these little crumbs. Because that was one of the things I noticed after we lost our little dachshunds, was that I didn't realize how much they just crumbs and things they cleaned up out of the floor, because it felt like I was, after they were both gone, it felt like I was cleaning the kitchen floor like 10 times more than normal. And then I finally realized it was because we didn't have dogs anymore, so the crumbs were just staying there instead of the dogs eating them like I was used to. But I'm super excited. We've got Oscar. It feels weird to say reserved, but reserved. And I was looking through them. There's like 4 or 5 other dogs I would like to get, but they're all still down in Texas. So I mean, waiting for them too. Hubby was looking at the local SPCA the other day, and they had a German Shepherd named Luna, and we thought, okay, we'll go see her. Like, literally, he saw it on Facebook. We were heading out to his mom's anyway. It's all the same direction. So he's like, well, before we get to mom's, let's just stop by there and see the dog. Okay. So we get there. The lady comes to let us in because the door was locked. There's another couple in there. The guy had headed out to their car just as we got there. And the lady says, how can I help you? And I'm like, we're here to see Luna. And they're like, she just got adopted by these folks. And the lady kind of smiled apologetically and was like, yeah, we just fell in love with her. And I was like, well, guess we got to be faster next time, because they just don't get dogs very often. The lady told us That was Thursday or Friday, and she told us they were getting a dog in the next day. So we looked at it the next day. It was kind of a cute dog, a little drooly. So I told my husband, no, we have to go see him first and see if you really want him. And before we even got there, he disappeared. He's already gone and been adopted too. And I mean, I appreciate that people are adopting them. So that's why, and they're going fast because they're going to good homes. That's great. It's just like, dang, it'd be nice if we even got a chance to look at one. So I don't know what we're going to do. I guess we might. There's one from the place down in Texas that is up here that we were going to go see before, but the foster wanted to let her settle in a little bit before we came and saw her. And she sent us a text message the other day and said that she's kind of settled in now. So if we still want to come look at her, we can. But I'm not sure when hubby and I are going to do that because it's like a 3-hour trip one way where she's located because she's right at the border of the province, I guess. I don't even know where it's at. My husband was like, well, we have to go this way. It's almost as far as driving back into Maine. In fact, I think they're right on the border with Maine. And hubby was like, well, we can turn it into a trip and we'll just drive into the States and we'll get some more sweet tea because you're out of that. And he probably wants to look at some other stuff as well. We brought back a case of the blackberry Dr. Pepper, zero sugar Dr. Pepper, and everybody just loved it. A lot of the family has decided to go zero sugar just because it makes it easier. So, like my brother in law, we're supposed to be going up there today for dinner. He's making a dessert with all the Splenda or Swerve or whatever so that everybody who's watching their sugar can still eat it. His girlfriend is diabetic, so probably wouldn't hurt for him to learn how to do all that stuff. I need to start figuring out recipes too that don't have as much sugar in them because my husband's blood sugar was not great at his last labs. And I know some of it is he's not working and walking and exercising like he was when he was working full time. My husband is very bad with sweet things about like, well, I'll just have half your cookie, or I'll just have a bite of your piece of cake, or I'll just have a taste of this. And I'm like, so I can't even have it in the house because he'll eat it. There'll always be some excuse. So I need to get better about that as well. We'll figure that out. We did go back up to my mother-in-law's too because we were well, we weren't. We were cleaning out. My husband and I were cleaning out the office. My son went out and they had 2 more cords of wood delivered. I guess I thought they were getting 4, but they were getting 6. So there's 2 more that need to be thrown in the woodshed. So he was out there doing some of that while we were cleaning up the office. And then my husband and I tried something that backfired on us. So my mother-in-law has been complaining because they have cordless phones. She has trouble getting up and down the stairs. So they had one phone upstairs in her room. They had one phone in the living room and another phone in the kitchen. All 3 places where she spends a lot of time. So that if the phone rang, she could just pick it up. Well, I guess one of the charging sets disappeared. So they were having to like trade off charging them up. And also the phones are old, so they're not holding a charge as long as they used to. And so she was complaining that they would keep dying and that she couldn't hear anybody. So we went out and we found these new phones with 3 handsets so she could have them in the 3 places again. We got one that had an audio boost on it so she could turn it up really loud so she'd be able to hear whoever was calling. So hubby spent part of the time we were up there changing out all the phones and putting the new ones in. She got a phone call while we were there. She really liked them, liked that they were charging, liked that she had 3 of them again. Then she called us the next day and was like, you have to take these back. I want my old ones back. And we're like, why? The ringer's too low. I can't hear it when the phone rings. Even with it sitting right next to her and with the ringer turned up as loud as it will go, for whatever reason, and it is a little bit of a high-pitched ring, she cannot hear it at all. My brother-in-law and the girlfriend can hear it, but she can't. So the phone's got to go. We got to take back the new one, which was like, ugh. I mean, I get it. Her hearing's not the greatest. She's in her 80s, but I was like, dang it. So now he's got to put all the old phones back in, and then we got to return the new ones and see if we can find one. Because all the ones that I can find with the audio boost, they either have a boost for the person listening so that you can make the person who's talking to you, their voices louder, or they have a ringer boost. But I can't find anything that has both. I mean, we even tried looking on Amazon Canada for like phones for seniors, but we just can't find one that has both of those options. That didn't cost like $500. I don't want to spend $500 on 3 phones. That's crazy. When the set that we bought was like 60 bucks. So we got to return those. Then hubby was ever Mr. Fix It was fixing things. We went to go see his oldest. He was complaining that he had a TV in his bedroom and he would play games on it. And it was I want to say like a 65, 70-inch TV, something like that. It's huge. And it got these lines on it. And so he was like, great, it's trashed. What am I going to do with this? It's going to cost so much money to replace it. So hubby, again, was like, well, let me see it. Let me see if I can fix it. And he brought it home, took it apart, tinkered with it a little bit, and the lines disappeared. And I thought, oh my gosh, just taking it apart and basically cleaning it inside. And just as we were standing there watching it going, I can't believe you fixed it, it started happening again. So then he was like, well, let me explore. And he tried a whole bunch of different things. He was watching YouTube videos. He finally found a video where they were like, if this is happening to you on this particular TV, here's the fix. Basically, some connection gets loose. So you take the TV apart, take the back apart so you can get to the little boards, disconnect the little ribbon wire, and then you put like a little piece of tape in it to keep it from moving around, because that's what's causing the lines, is the connection is not secure. So you put a little piece of tape in there and it holds it in place so it won't move around. And ta-da, 2-cent piece of tape fixed it. No more lines. It works perfectly. It's perfectly clear. His oldest was ecstatic to get it back. He's like, you're saving us so much money. Because they were thinking they were going to have to spend $1,000 or more to get a replacement TV. They're the same ones that we gave our old fridge to, so they didn't have to get money for that. They're actually at some point going to give us, I think I told you guys this before, they have a mini fridge that they're not using that they're going to give to us. Hubby wants to fix up a space down in the basement for like a little man cave type thing. So we're going to put it down there so we can put drinks down there to go with our freezer, because we got the freezer delivered this week too. So super happy. Hubby spent some time cleaning up down there. So all the wood is nice and neat and stacked. We did a little bit of cleaning up, moving some things around so he could figure out where he wants to put all the stuff for his little, I guess it'll be more like a little man corner. He wants to get like a little futon or something and put down there, and a TV with a table. We get the little mini fridge. We need to get some more shelving because we've got stuff, totes and stuff on the floor that we want to get up on shelves. Plus, I would like to have like a couple of shelves down there for like a little extra pantry, so we could get some non-perishables and put those down there. So yeah, been a busy week. Oh, one last thing. Hubby also was wanting to get our chimney cleaned on our wood stove, which I know nothing about wood stoves and how they work other than you put wood in them and set them on fire and the wood burns. So I don't really know much about the maintenance and all of that. And he's like, well, we'll just call. I guess the guy around here is the go-to guy. It's like a family business, and they've been doing this for 50 plus years, being the supplier of wood stoves to everybody in this region. So the guy came out. The whole reason we were talking about it was because his mother wanted their chimney cleaned out because it's their main heat source in the winter. So she wanted it cleaned out and everything, certified that it was good before they started burning stuff for the winter. And typically, either my husband or his oldest would get up on the roof and clean it out. Well, neither one of them wanted to get up there. My husband's too old, quite frankly, to get up there. I'd be afraid he'd fall and break a hip. And his youngest is not as old as us, but he didn't want to get up there either. It's a little rickety. So I told my husband, don't they have people who like a chimney sweep or whatever? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, let's call them. How expensive? Is it super expensive? And he said, well, I don't know. I haven't had it done in so long. And he always used to do it himself, so he didn't even know really what they used to charge. And I said, well, call and find out. So he called, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, we can do it. It was only going to be $140, which to me, not having my husband or his oldest crawling on the roof is well worth it. I said, even if your mom doesn't want to pay it, we'll pay it because I don't want you up there. So my husband called and said, we have two because we want you to do ours as well. And the guy said, okay. So it took a couple of days, but he finally called us back. He's been super busy because he's been off. I guess something happened and he broke his ankle or something. Had to have pins put in his legs. I'm sure that was fun. The guy was still in a boot hobbling around, but when he came to clean our chimney, they don't go up on the roof anymore. They have all of these, it's almost like drilling a pipe. So you put a little piece in with the brush on the end, and then he used a drill to kind of scour out that far, and then you attach another piece to that, and then you run the drill, and you just do that, and all the ash and everything falls down into the box so you can just clean it out. He was hilarious. Just all kinds of, you shouldn't run it when it's like this, don't put the ashes here, don't do this will start a fire, blah blah blah, most of which we knew. So hubby's just, and I'm just laughing because he's hilarious. And he's telling us about the time he accidentally set his trash on fire because he thought that he had all of the no embers in the ash that he'd collected that day. And he ended up accidentally setting the trash on fire because there was one in there. Which we have a bucket that we put outside. It's on the concrete, it's a steel bucket. So, and hubby was saying during the winter, when the bucket would get full, he would just dump it out on the snow. I mean, after making sure there were no embers in there. But anyway, so then the guy's like, well, I'm going to head up to your mother's. And so my husband was like, okay, I'll follow you up there. So they get up there and the guy is cleaning it out. And of course, they're all amazed again. Oh, something my husband told me. I've never heard this. If any of you guys have Irish heritage, you let me know, because my husband's grandmother is from Ireland and moved to Canada way back when. But anyway, the chimney sweep came in the house, and his mother got up out of her chair and walked over to shake his hand. Hello, how are you? And he says, well, my hands are all dirty. And I had noticed that when he was at our house, like his hands were just covered in soot, which of course they are, that's his job. And she said it doesn't matter. So she shook his hand. And he's like, but my hands are all dirty. And she goes, it's good luck to shake a chimney sweep's hand. And so my husband was immediately, here, shake my hand. So he shook the guy's hand. I've never heard that before, but I've never had a chimney sweep my house before either. So I just thought that was funny. Because most of the time, even for my husband, she doesn't get out of her chair. So he was really surprised. The guy came in and she came right over and shook his hand. What is going on? It's good luck. Anyway, so the chimney sweep is cleaning out her chimney. And of course, she's all amazed because he's not going up on the roof to do it. So they were talking about that. But then as he starts to clean it out after he's run the brush through it and everything, he tells her that a bunch of the bricks are missing from the firebox inside, which my husband thinks they've gotten beaten and broken because pretty hefty logs just get chucked in there because it's their main heat source. And so he thinks over time they just have kept hitting the back of the stove and breaking things down. There was also some missing from the side, the guy said. So they were talking about what they needed to do to get that fixed. And then he said, oh, you also have a crack in the back of the stove here. And she said, well, so is it still good for this year? And he said, I can't tell you that because if I tell you that and you use it and then your house burns down, you're going to try and blame me. And he said, so I'm going to tell you, no, it won't last. You need to replace it. Because he said it's just like a hairline crack. But he said the thing is, you can't ever really close the firebox then because even when you close the doors, close the vent to try and keep the oxygen out so it burns down and you get that really nice ember glow that puts off a lot of heat. He said you won't be able to do it because there will still be air coming in from that crack in the back. And he told her he always keeps a stove of all the different sizes, one stove of each size in stock, so he has one. So now they need a new wood stove. She was glad that we got the chimney cleaned, but not happy that they need a new stove, which I wouldn't be either. And I told my husband, I don't how much do those cost? I wouldn't even have a clue. And because of the size of stove that they need, because it's their main heat source in the winter, it's like $4,000, which is a lot of money, but admittedly was less than I was thinking it was going to be. I figured it'd be like 10 grand or something, the size they needed. So that's on their agenda to get fixed now, which he said he has one in stock. It would only take him a couple of days to take out the old one and put in the new one. And that 4,000 is everything. That's taxes, installation, everything, which again, I thought was a pretty good price. I would have thought just the stove alone would be way more than that. So it'll be interesting to see. When my husband came home and said they need a new stove, I thought he meant their oven, which they just bought a new one a year or so before we moved up here. So theirs wasn't even that old. And I was like, what? Their wood stove isn't that old either. I think it said it was 2012. So I would hope ours is going to last longer than that. But ours is not our only heat source. Ours is more of, I mean, it does put off heat, but it's more for ambiance than anything. It's nice because we have heat if the electricity went out, but it's not our only heat source. I remember doing that as a kid when the power would go out and it was cold. We would all get in the kitchen. They would turn the oven on and we would sleep near the... That's probably not a good thing to do. I don't know, could we have died from like carbon monoxide? Who knows? One of the grown-ups stayed up all night anyway. I was a kid, I was sleeping, but they weren't. But I do remember doing that because the stove was gas powered, so it would still work even if the electricity was out and the furnace didn't work. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know. I think that's everything that I wanted to tell you for my regular life. So let's move on to my diamond painting life. What's going on in my diamond painting life? Well, I'm still working on this little baker kit, as you can see. I've not been concentrating on her. I've really just been working on her during the WIP and chats because this is so big, she kind of just stays on the table. And then when I do my WIP and chats, I'll come in and work on her. I was trying to finish the Day of the Dead lady, the Sugar Skull lady for Drills and Chills, which I finished. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. And then I was trying to figure out, I wanted to do a second kit for Drills and Chills, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So yesterday's video was me opening my last Spangler because I decided that I would do my last Spangler as my second Drills and Chills kit. I could have just waited till October and done it for the last quarter like I had intended to do, but then I figured, you know what? If I started a little bit early, then I can use it for Drills and Chills. I get a little early head start on it. That means hopefully I'll finish it sooner. Then I will be able to move on to my next project. So I'm excited about that one. A little sad because it is my last Spangler, but that's okay. That was the goal. And that may be the only goal I accomplished this year. I seriously doubt that I'm going to make my 10,000 hours. I'll probably make my budget. I don't know if I'll make my finishes because I've started working on kind of bigger kits and square kits that take me longer. I do think that I am going to change my stash goal, and rather than saying I want to finish, I can't decide if I want to, maybe I'll revamp both. If I want to revamp my stash goal, because my stash goal was a percentage, I wanted to get it down by a percentage. I don't know how close I am to that percentage. I think I said 30%, which is insane. Don't think there's any way I'm going to get that done. But if I revamp that to be a center square centimeter goal, and then also if I revamped my number of finishes, I think I'm close on my number of finishes. I might get that one. I think I said I wanted to do 35 or 36, and I think I'm at like 22. So I might make that by the end of the year. I don't know. I really need to sit down and actually look at them and not just do the numbers and then be like, here's my numbers. I really need to sit down and kind of think about them, which I don't always do, honestly. I'm also starting to think ahead for next year already, things that I want to do a little bit differently. But I need to finish this year before I start thinking about next year. So there's that. I finished the Day of the Dead lady, so I'm working on the Mooka kit that I opened, my last budget kit, which that will kind of tick a box for me. That's my last budget kit, so I won't have any of those anymore. Then I will work on this one a little bit more. I will start working on my last Spangler, and then we'll see what I want to do next. It's been kind of nice keeping this one as my like back burner project. I really like this one. The drills are so nice. Everything fits together so nice. I love all the pinks and reds, the colors of this, which at first I thought would drive me insane that there was so much pink. But I mean, that's what attracted me to the image in the first place, because clearly I did not pay any attention to how big it was. I like Miss Holly's art. I think that was part of what attracted me to it too. And also it was all the bakery stuff. Like I said, I used to own a cake and cookie business with my grandmother, so a bit of nostalgia for me as well. Kind of want to try and get my hand back into that. I used to have a lot of fun decorating. Watch some people on Twitch and YouTube who basically make small batch like designer cookies, or even people who run like a specialty cookie business. I watched this one lady that basically makes sugar cookies and then you decorate them with royal icing. She was doing like baby showers and birthdays and that kind of stuff. I think that would be fun to do. Although part of the reason I quit doing it was because it hurt my carpal tunnel so bad. The piping bags and everything just were not as much fun. But if I was doing them in like small batches, I think I could manage. I got rid of a bunch of my stuff though. I didn't keep any of my, like I took an actual cake decorating class from Wilton, and I had all different kinds of specialty tips and piping bags. I think I kept one box of tips. So I have like 16 different tips and maybe a couple of bags, but I got rid of all of the other stuff. I ended up donating them, I think. It's funny, I was telling my husband when we had our garage sale, I had all my cake decorating stuff out. Nobody wanted that, but I also had a bunch of sewing stuff out. My mom used to be a pretty good seamstress and she taught me how to sew. And of course, I took home ec in class when I was in junior high. Back when they made you take home ec and shop, everybody had to take those classes. So I learned how to use a sewing machine and I was decent at it. Not a seamstress like my mom was. My mom could look at a piece of clothing and make a pattern from scratch. Just draw it out of like grocery bags and put it together and it would be a piece of clothing. I can't do that, but I can sew a pattern. Anyway, where we lived when we were living in Kansas, nobody wanted my cake decorating stuff, but I had some of the Mennonite people there just all agog over all of the sewing stuff that I had, because I had all kinds of different like bias tape and seam tape and lace and zippers and buttons, like a whole big box full of all different kinds of thread and needles. And I had an old sewing machine that I can't use anymore because I can't see well enough to sew. I would love to get another sewing machine that does like the embroidery stuff, that has like the computer so you can set it up to do whatever kind of embroidery you want. But alas. Anyway, wow, I'm really off topic. Not sure how I got there, but anyway, like I said, I got quite a bit accomplished. Finished this section over here yesterday. Now I just got to fill in these white dots are all of the fairy dust, the white fairy dust drills. So this little curtain's going to be super pretty. And then all of these window panes are going to be the ABs. So that should all be some nice multi-placing. So I should make some more progress by the time you see her again. We'll see. The Muka I'm working on, I should finish up pretty quickly. And then I can move on to the Spangler, which I need to kit up. So you probably see that shortly too. So leave me a comment down below and let me know. I know some of you have already finished one project for Drills and Chills. Are you guys going to be moving on? I think I had a couple people tell me that they were going to move on to some holiday kits already because they wanted to have some presents done in time for Christmas. So if you're making a Christmas gift, love to know what you're working on. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around through this probably rambly whipping chat. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.